Okay, well, I haven't been able to make that many videos in the last year, and I was looking at my channel right now, and I totally forgot that I never got around to making the video for the bumper. Yeah, I moved to a small little like mountain lake resort town middle of last month, and I got this done just right before the move. So let me explain what's going on here. For starters, I call this the log splitter. Now, how much the angle really does help in an impact, I mean, probably not a ton. But you know what? It's going to be better than it being flat. That's like that much I can guarantee. So what I did here with this, I got the metal about a year before I built it. And I got it at the big recycling place up in Boise. And this thing started out life as an 8-inch by 6-inch, and I think maybe 8-foot long chunk of metal. And so what I did first, because I don't have a plasma cutter, so I took it to a shop that I've, like when I had the metal, when I built the cab and stuff, when I had the 1/4-inch aluminum bent at 90 degrees to do all that work. I found a really good shop there in Boise. Anyways, so what I did was I took this to them and I said, okay, here's what I want. I want you to cut out the back side. I want you to cut out the side there, because that's just extra metal that's not helping anything for what I need. Because, in an impact, it's going to be the top, and then the bottom, the metal that's going to keep it from bending in. This is only just for up and down forces, and there's not really going to be up and down forces that much. So had them cut out the back, and then I said, okay, from the center point, I want you to go 15 degrees out, cut that off, and then 15 degrees out, cut that off, and then heat up the nose a little bit, and then grab the ends and pinch them together, and then give me a tack weld. Give me a tack weld right there to hold together. So they did that on the top and bottom. And man, I think they only charged me like $100 for it. It was, I only paid $100 for the steel. But anyways, so that's how it started off. And so then I went and so this is at a 45-degree angle, and I welded this on, and then I have braces all along there, and then I welded on the caps, the end caps, and that's all. I think that's 3/8 on the end caps. So, so what I did was, this right here is actually a little bit above the center point, but the angle downward, if I hit something and then it shoves it down, it slides down under, it's going to push it down below the center point of the tire. So then I go up and over it. Now, the first thing that most people will say, like in the Humvee groups on Facebook, they'd be like, oh, you killed your approach angle and this and that and the other. It's like, okay, well, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. That's obvious. But with anything in life, there's a trade-off. Okay? So like with the Humvee, what's the first trade-off with the Humvee besides being slow? All right, because you can put a bigger engine and make it faster, but what you can't do is you can't make it skinnier. So like that's where a Jeep will have the advantage, because the wheelbase is smaller, so it high centers. It doesn't high center as easy, and it can fit into places where a Humvee can't. Okay, so the Jeep has the advantage there, but guess what the Jeep loses out on big time? Ground clearance. because everything is tucked up under. But then when you tuck everything up under, you push everything out to the sides to make it wider. Like it's the give and take. And with the Humvee, you have better balance side to side because it's wider. So there's a give and take to everything. And when I was designing this bumper in my head before I built it, I knew it was going to hurt the approach angle a lot. But what did I gain from it? What I gained from it is protecting the freaking front end. Like literally just maybe about a month and a half ago, there was a guy in one of the forums, the Facebook groups, where he had went into a telephone pole and it like hit like right in here. And it like ripped his wheel off. All the suspension is ripped off. I'm sure there's frame damage. And of course, the hood and stuff, that's toast. And it's just like I posted on there. I was like, yeah, all you motherfuckers laughing at me because of my bumper and how I killed my approach angle. Well, guess what? If I would have hit that telephone pole, I would have just bounced off of it and then kept going. Would have jarred the shit out of the vehicle? Of course it would have. But I wouldn't have been immobile. So if you're out, because that's the thing is, if people have been out in the mountains and in rough terrain, you know what? Ruts and things like that, it will like kick your vehicle off to the side, and like you can't, like there's nothing you can do about it. And there's spots where like I had to go between two trees, and with the Humvee being extra wide, if I would have got kicked over to the side a foot, I would have ran right into the damn tree. But I didn't have to really worry about it, because if I did, I would have been fine. So the approach angle, sure, but you know what? If I got to run through a fence or something, or all those anti-protesting people on the right, because they hate protesters for some reason. Which, don't get me wrong, that shit goes too far. But lots of people are like, oh, you can go through 100 protesters with that thing. Well, yeah, I could, but I ain't trying to run people over. But if you ever find yourself in a hairy situation and you need to run through a vehicle because it's purposely blocking you, or there's two vehicles, guess what? If you were in a regular Humvee and you tried to run through them, like you would probably get immobilized, and then you'd really be screwed. Like this here, that is not getting pushed back. So as you can see, I don't know, what do I have, 3 inches or 3.5 inches? I forget about the clearance there, but this right here, this is 6 inches, and that's 1.25 inches thick. So that's flat bar. Now that flat bar, so my design, you might be like, what the hell is all this weird design? So I'm not a professional welder, and but the one thing I can do is I can design things to compensate for my lack of welding skills. And so that's kind of like what you see going on with some of this stuff. So anyways, this is actually bolted. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can maybe just barely see the bolts. Where's my finger at? Where am I at here? You can barely see the bolt right there. So there's 2 bolts. Those bolts right there, along with these 2, they tie into the cross member. Okay. So the back 2 bolts go to the cross member, and also the suspension, the front 2 bolts, it's just the front part of that cross member. So it's tied directly into that cross member, and all the force of this is all tied into the cross member. So it's obviously like that on the other side. So what that means is all this force, if you get hit on the outer edge, it's solid. It's a solid path all the way through, back over to all the way over here to this side. Same thing over here, bolted in the same place. And this right here is actually sitting right up against the plate focus. It's sitting right up against the plate for the suspension. Like that's touching it on both sides. It's flush. And I spent a lot of time and effort when I designed this thing to where when I got everything welded and put into place, it was going to fit right where I wanted it. And I got it probably 99% exactly how I wanted the whole bumper. There's one little spot that's not exactly perfect, but it's fine. So anyways, my point is, on this outer edge, it's literally tied in all the way through. So it made the whole front end one complete unit. And so like inside here, let's see, yeah, we can kind of see. So this is 1/2-inch angle iron, and that goes to the nose, and then it goes to the factory mounts here on the front. And yeah, oh, that's right. And then so the factory mounts, they sit right up against that plate as well for the cross member. So everything, all the metal from all the angles, it's all touching all the way around. Same thing over here. It's touching up against this piece. Everything is all connected and physically tied in together. And so this is 1/2-inch, just like the bumper's 1/2-inch. The whole thing weighs, because I have 2 digital scales, and so I lowered it down on both of them to get the weight, and it was like about 525 pounds. Well, actually, it was right about 500, but then I added this plate here for the future, because I'm like, oh, you know what? Like, I know I can get a winch onto here, and it's gonna suck, because then I already know it's gonna be tall enough, and it's gonna block my blackout camera. But I'll figure that out in the future. But I definitely do need to get a winch. But anyway, so yeah, that 1/2-inch plate's on there. So I figured it's probably about 525 pounds or so. So yeah, that's the log splitter. Everything is all tied together. You can see how that's 1.25 inches. Like you're not bending that. Like the amount of force it would take to actually bend this bumper, I would probably die from the G-force impact alone. So, and then one thing I did too, I had some extra of the flat bar, and so I cut it out, and it fits right in this little curve, this little alcove down here. See if it can focus good enough with the lighting. Anyways, yeah, so this is 1.25 inches. I put it inside here, and it's totally physically touching this piece, and then it's all welded into place. It's all welded all the way around in the nose and everywhere. And yeah, so to try to bend this outside edge piece in, like you're gonna literally have to bend this 1.25 inch flat bar into the other 1.25 inch flat bar that's the cross brace, and everything is all welded in every little contact point and all the way around. So like that's so much steel there, you would have to bend for like anything at all to happen. And then what else? And then I got this other piece in here that I welded, and you know what? And also too, that's right. And with this, like it's all welded, so like this can't, if it hits, it can't like come out this way or whatever. Like it's all welded in together. Like I said, I did things to it to compensate for my lack of being an amazing welder. Oh, you know what I think I did with these plates here? I think that was just extra metal and weld to to make sure this was completely solid to this, and it couldn't be in an impact, it wouldn't like tear through the welds, because you're actually having to tear through more actual solid steel. So like even like with this piece in here, and that's just that's 1/2 inch, and that's all welded to this piece, and then that piece is bolted in, and so none of that, like there's no place for any, like there's no place if there's an impact and this gets transferred into here, there's no place for any welds to break off through, because it's tied into other pieces of metal. So yeah, I mean, obviously I don't want to hit anything, but if I did, I'm probably going to be all right, or at least for the most part, I'm going to be in far better shape than anything else. And also too, I didn't want the nose, because if you had more of an angle, then things would slide off more. But I didn't want the weight of the bumper to be too far out, because then you have the leverage forces that come into play. And with weight on the front end of the frame, which the frame's designed to hold all kinds of heavy stuff, but I was trying to be conscious about that. So, because like if you've looked at things, like you've seen the pictures of those big giant push bumpers that the Humvees have. And now I know most of those are aluminum, and I've seen one, like it just was smashed. It was smashed all the way back into the tire. So like you would literally have to try to remove that messed up push bumper in order to be even able to put a new tire on. So who knows how long you're immobile for? Who knows how hard it would be to get that jacked up bumper off? Now they do make those in steel, but I guarantee you it's not like this, because another thing too with those push bumpers, I mean, they come way out. I mean, like they're probably like way out here, and you got those big rubber pieces on it, but you have a lot of weight, especially if it's, if it's the metal one, you have a lot of weight that's way further out from the nose, and so the leverage forces of angles, like you're definitely gonna be putting more stress on the frame versus like even if my bumper is actually physically heavier, it's not out as far. And also too, those things don't have the kind of protection that this does with the cross member. So like even if those push bumpers were 1/2 inch steel, they still wouldn't be able to hold up to an impact like this. Like not even close. But I guarantee you they're not 1/2 inch. I mean, they're probably made out of 1/4 inch. And with these things, like this weighs in over 9,000 pounds the way it sits. I'm going to be building my own version of a modified ambulance cab. I'm going to be probably doing that in about a month or so, and it'll be a permanent cab. And at that point, once I get the refrigerator and air conditioning unit in, I'll be probably right at about 10,000 pounds. It might even be a little bit less. Now this is a 12K frame, so I mean, I'm a full 2,000 pounds under like what this thing is actually designed to carry, and that was part of my plan from the beginning too, because I wanted it to be overbuilt. So if I had to be extra rough with this thing, it could totally take it, because it's designed to actually take a hard pounding with 12,000 pounds. So if you only have 10, you can be harder on it and still be just fine. So yeah, there you go. That's the log splitter. And yeah, that was fun getting it back in there. I had to go buy one of those motorcycle jacks, because they're wider. And so that worked out really well. Now, if I would have had an engine hoist, that probably would have worked too, but then all the balancing might have been a little bit of an issue. But it might have been a little better with the engine hoist, but I was a little bit strapped on money because of the economy and stuff, and the interest rates getting jacked up. So I found a really good deal on actually a really high quality motorcycle jack. So anyways, so there you go. That's the log splitter, and that puppy, it's not going anywhere. Now obviously if I hit something that's higher than this, it can still come in and damage the hood and stuff. But you know what, that's going to be the case with whatever you have. You know, even if I had something that came up from here and like those bush guards, but I don't know, I think at this point if I tried to add something like that, it would probably look stupid. Not that this looks amazing, because a lot of people probably think this looks stupid, and that's fine, because I don't build things for other people. I build things for myself. But yeah, that brush, like if I built like a really heavy duty brush guard, I don't know, like that might just be over the top stupid looking. But that would only help out so much because of the angles and forces you're dealing with. So I mean, I don't even know if it'd even be worth it. You know, once I build the cab for it, what I will do is I'll do like how a lot of the Jeeps, you know, they'll have like a pin here and they'll have like the guy wire going up to the top, so that way any branches hit, they won't hit the vehicle. They'll just slide along that heavy guy wire. Like that's something I'll definitely do. Yeah, so there you go. And yeah, I haven't been able to do much the last year because of life circumstances, but the Humvee was already mostly all built by that point anyways. You know, but I totally forgot to make the video for the bumper. I also have a video from last weekend when I got stuck in the snow. It was really kind of dumb. Because like where I went, I didn't expect there to be hardly any snow there left, but it was on the backside of a mountain that doesn't see any sunlight, and it was a higher elevation than where I'm at now. So I wound up not even getting to my destination. I wound up having to turn back around. Yeah, but on my way back around, I went to a different little spot to check it out, and then that's when I got stuck in the snow for about 10 minutes or 15 minutes. But if you see the video, it's actually rather silly. So, all right, guys, you have a good one, and catch you guys later.